Hello everyone. Merry Christmas to you all. So if you see me looking towards my right, which is your left, I've got a script I'm looking at. My background is in journalism, so I used to, doing some research, writing a script, and relying on the script to do the video. So I'm looking to my right to refer to my research. Okay, so my video today is about the new Nigerian tax law, which will come into effect January 1st, 2026. There's been so many arguments and counter arguments, mostly on social media, and I felt it's best to, after doing a lot of research, and listening to Mr. Taiwo Yelede on social media and on the news channel, I felt it's best to put his ideas, that's Mr. Taiwo Yelede's ideas, online for people to refer to. So as a disclaimer, firstly, I'd like to say that I'm not a tax consultant. Therefore, no one should use my research as a legal tax advice. If you are in doubt, I strongly urge you to consult a tax consultant. So, disclaimer out of the way. Also, I'd like to mention that the rich and the famous don't bother themselves with tax laws. What they what they would do is rather employ tax consultants to advise them on how to pay less tax. So this video is basically not for the rich or not for the wealthy. It's for the middle class, the lower cadre of the society. Basically, taxpayers in the public sector, government workers, private sector, just as like small business owners, sole traders, like the typical street traders, the bolly seller, the akara seller, the bread seller. Those are small scale business owners. And this tax video is also about diaspora Nigerians, diaspora investors, and diaspora gifts. Basically, those that want to give their families in Nigeria gifts. So please, I'll advise you to like my video and also please share my videos. So the new tax law takes effect from January 1st, 2026. Despite the controversy, the back and forth, the naysayers on social media who does not see anything good from the government, they always attack everything, whether good or bad. The government insists that this date will not change; it will go ahead. So there were four tax reform bills that President Tinubu signed into law in June 2025, which replaces the old existing tax laws from January 1st, like I said. So the first one is legal and administrative changes. Second one is individual income tax, which is basically pay as you earn, payee as they call it. That's one that affects most people. The third one is corporate and business tax changes. And the fourth is multinational and global tax rules. So I'll start with the first one, which is the legal and administrative changes. So basically, the new tax law creates a unified tax frame. It replaces the multiple outdated tax laws. Basically, what's been happening in the past is that there are so many taxes. People get taxed right front and center. If you ask the market woman on the street, they'll tell you this person comes, collect tax, that person comes, collect tax. So what this new law basically does is to create a unified, that basically means, one tax, one pot, and it replaces the old one. The old tax laws involves company income tax, income, personal income tax, VAT, capital gains, stamp duties. So all of these are unified, make it simplified. So the old organization involved was Federal Inland Revenue Service. So now it's called the Nigeria Revenue Service. So the second point of that new tax law is the individual income tax reform. So basically, this new tax, people should take this into consideration, makes it significantly, it's a significant relief for low income tax earners, as I outlined, in so like I said earlier, personal individual income tax, which is basically pay as you earn. So the tax law, I need to emphasize this, it's a relief for low income tax earners. It's you have to earn 800,000 naira and above to pay. So, and most Nigerians, I don't have the statistics in front of me, but I can bet most Nigerians do not earn 800k, and above. So this tax law does not concern you. I've seen lots of people argue on social media, worried about the tax net, and I can guarantee you this does not involve you. So, it's full exemptions for persons earning minimum wage or below set threshold of 800,000, like I said earlier. So the third option of this new tax law is corporate and business tax changes. So small business owners with turnover of less than 100 million and assets of less than 250 million are fully exempted from corporate tax. So that's another advantage of the tax law. So there's a possibility of the corporate tax reduction to be cut from 30% to 25%. That hasn't been finalized, but it doesn't concern us. It only concerns the rich, So those mostly complaining on social media are not wealthy Nigerians, like I said earlier. So the rich people will just get a tax consultant to sort out all this headache. So so the last one is multinational and global tax rules. Minimum effective tax rate for large multinational groups, 15%. So that's basically for, like it says, large multinational groups, which doesn't involve, these people don't complain on social media. They get tax consultants to sort it out. Those complaining are the usual me and you, looking for ends to meet. So the other key aspect of these new tax rules, so is like I said earlier, it ends multiple overlapping federal taxes. If you ask this low earners, the Okada people, the Boli seller, they will tell you they pay that person. Most of these monies does not go into government coffers. It goes into people's pockets. That's why you don't see corresponding development, because people just does not refer this money back to their managers. So it reduces tax duplication between federal, state, and local governments. The FIRS, which is now NIS, Nigeria Revenue Service, will collect all these taxes and then share it amongst the rest. So also it simplifies compliance. Basically means increasing the tax net. It basically brings more people into the tax net. And we all know Nigerians as a population pay one of the lowest taxes in Africa, and those that pay goes into people's pockets. But that's I'll focus on that on a different video. So one of the advantages of these new tax laws is the introduction of the tax exemptions and relief across sectors. Like I said, it is targeted at the rich. The low income, and middle class will most likely not pay unless you earn 800k and above. So also it should be added, there are misconceptions out there, so we need to clear that, which is one of the reasons why I'm making this video. The 5% levy which government mentioned will not automatically start January 2026. There's still no date for that. 15% import duty. Remember, there was a back and forth last month about 15% import duty on petrol and diesel. So that has been suspended. The Tinubu government is looking at that. Obviously, there'll be price impact, but that's the worry. That's those that are against that 15% import levy said that one of the disadvantages, there'll be price impacts. That means the price will go up. Obviously, it will go up if you had 15% import levy. And supply, they said supply may be affected. Though the other flip side of that argument is that Dangote already said that he can cater for all the supply needs of Nigerians. So we need to break that down. So there are two, for those who does not know, Dangote provides petrol imports to Nigeria, and there are also sets of people, we call them the cabals. They also provide, they import petrol and diesel, from refineries across the world. They bring that into Nigeria, and those are the ones that the government wants to tax. I'll do a different video on the advantages and disadvantages of importing fuel, but for now, those that pro-import of fuel are saying that there will be price increase, which is true, because Tinubu government said they will put 15% import levy, which means that the price of their petrol, those are import, not Dangote, those are import, their price will go up by 100 naira or 150 naira. So basically that means that if Dangote is selling at 700 naira to MRS and other people aligned with him, which means by the time MRS put their transport and other charges to be like 730 per liter, while those are import for other petrol stations, N50 and others, theirs will be like 800 naira or 850 naira per liter. So for now, Tinubu government said, okay, we're putting that on hold. So the other issue that needs to be emphasized is that there is no blanket 20% tax on those earning 800k. So there will be progressive brackets apply. Basically, in simple terms, what that means is not everyone earning 800k and above will get 20%. Some, as the more you earn, the more tax you pay. So if I earn 800,000, I'll pay 20%. If Mr. B earns 800 million, he pays more than that. So basically that's what that means. I suggest if you like and share my video, please, I appreciate that. It gives me the confidence to make more videos and enlighten Nigerians on all this thorny issue. So effective from January 1st, the VAT sharing, which is one of the tax elements, that's important as well. Federal government share will go down from 15% to 10%. I'm reading it here, and I'll put the caption up there. So states government share of VAT they will collect. This is the one they will collect from government after NRS collect the whole money and they want to share the VAT. So federal government's share of that money has gone down from 15% to 10%. State government has increased from 50, that's 50, to 55, that's 55%. Local government share remains at 35%. So why I'm emphasizing on this is that most people always cry out when they feel dissatisfied with this pace of development. They will always cry out at the central government. But I'm emphasizing on this video to always cry out to your state governors. State governors are collecting so much money now. Some state governors, I don't want to mention names, I don't want them to come for me, are collecting double. Some are collecting triple. There are some states that, for example, let's say they get 10 million before the removal of subsidy. Now, some states are getting 20 million. No, I should say billion actually. Let's say billion because that's akin to what they're collecting. So some governors that are collecting 10 billion from the federal purse just before removal of subsidy. With the removal of subsidy, some are collecting 20 billion, while some are collecting up to 30 billion. And are you seeing ×3 of development in those states? No. So those of you that are always shouting at Tinubu, federal government all the time, hold your state governor into account. Some of them are doing fantastically well. We've seen some building airports, and I'll make a different video about that as well. The disadvantage and the advantages of these airports they are building. The state has done it, Ekiti has done it, Enugu has done it. Enugu has floating airline, Enugu here, good news. And we have the IBOM here as well. So some are building airports. There's a reason to that, which I'll emphasize in a different video. But some people are saying those money used to build airports could have been used to, build roads and industries and provide jobs for the people. Both sides of the argument, they have a point. It depends on which side of the argument you sit on, but I'll make a different video regarding that. So like I said, states are collecting so much money. And bear in mind, local government is insignificant in this issue. Local government revenue is being collected by state governors in some states. Some governors says that they are giving it to the local government, but don't forget, when FARC shares this money, federal government takes theirs, state government takes state government revenue, and local government revenue goes to state as well. Some state governors say they are giving it to local government chairman, but where's the proof? We don't know. So basically, state governors are taking almost 80% of the revenue, and we don't know what's happening to it. So diaspora gifting, that's another option, So that's why it's important to emphasize on the notes when you make bank transfers. There's a note there that you put about the money transfer from A to B. So that's very important, because when this issue comes up and the NRS, Nigerian Revenue Service, realize that you've made so much money has passed through your account and you only declare a tiny bit as tax, you have to prove to them that these monies are gifts. So this especially affects Nigerians that gift people a lot. You have families and you're the breadwinner, you give them money for naming ceremony, money for wedding, money for university. So you have to put all of these notes when you transfer that money, because when the NRS will come calling, it might be in 6 months or 8 months or 12 months time, you would have forgotten why you give Mr. John whatever that money. So yeah, that's why you have to put notes: hospital bills, school fees, business loan, so that money will not be taxed. So that's for diasporans, because some of them have been asking me, if you have families abroad, I want to give your parents in Nigeria money. You don't want the tax man to run after those monies. Just put notes in the note of the transfer as hospital bills, or if it's for your nephew, say school fees. If you are loaning your friend money, say business loan. And if your friend is returning that money back to you, business loan refund. Write it in the notes there, so it will be clear when the tax man comes calling in 10 months time. So the other issue I want to emphasize is the tax compliance in Nigeria, in Africa, vis-a-vis Nigeria. It's in Nigeria vis-a-vis Africa. It's really very low. It's very low. I know people will say we pay a lot of taxes in Nigeria, and we do, but like I said earlier, all this money is going to government, going to private individuals' pockets. That's why the Tinubu government wants everything to be professional, so that everything goes straight to the government. So I checked the OECD, and we're looking at the higher tax to GDP ratio. GDP, gross domestic product, it's basically the size of the economy. It's basically the size of Nigeria. If I can digress a bit, Ethiopia's GDP growth in 2025 is 7%. Nigeria is almost 4%. I think 3.9 the last time. while the UK is 1.3%. And if you ask Nigerians, where do you want to live between Nigeria, Ethiopia, and UK, they will tell you, let's go to UK. Even though UK growth is 1%, 1.3%, there was a time, there was a quarter that UK didn't even grow at all, but the people, they had better life than those in Nigeria and Ethiopia. And the funny thing is, they always say Ethiopia is people in Ethiopia are hungry, but the economy is doing well there. There are sectors that are really doing well. The economy grew by 7%. Even some European companies didn't grow by 7%. So OECD, like I said, is the Organization for, let me get that right, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So the higher tax compliance in Africa, according to OECD, is Tunisia, 34%, in Africa. Then we have Namibia, South Africa, Mauritius, Seychelles, and Botswana. That's where you get the higher tax compliance amongst African countries. In the middle range of compliance, that's where Nigeria is. We don't like to pay taxes in this country, but we want development. So the other countries in Africa within the middle range is Gabon, Chad, Cote d'Ivoire, and so many. So Nigeria historically has low tax to GDP ratio, around 10 to 11%, according to the OECD. So, and bear in mind, we have a large informal economy. That's very, very low, very, very low. So those in the low tax to GDP ratio brackets, Somalia, Ethiopia. So in summary, I'll put this up there. In summary, I'll put the graph from OECD as well. In summary, so the new tax law is not for poor people, like I said. Those that are angry about it on social media will not have to pay tax. The low income earners. This tax law is basically for the rich. 80% of Nigerians condemning this law does not earn 800k. So like I said, your salary or your profit has to be 800k and above for you to have to pay this tax. So stop stressing yourself on social media. The rich, like I said earlier, they don't shout, they don't go crazy about it. They just employ a tax consultant to sort it out. And also, very important, state revenue will increase. Hold your governor to account. If you want your governor to spend the money on developmental structures, roads, hospitals, agriculture, hold your governor by the trouser. Rather than your governor spending the money on airports and airplane, tell your governor you want it on this and that and that. It won't tax diaspora earnings as well. So like I said, if you send your money to your mother in Nigeria, you won't have to pay tax. Sorry, I was interrupted. Like I was saying, in summary, it will not, the government will not tax your diaspora earnings. If you're in Nigeria and your uncle in America or your son in America sends you money for your upkeep, you will not be taxed. Just make sure he puts the notes that mommy's hospital bills or nephew's school fees. So the rich over the years have escaped paying tax. Rich people too don't like to pay tax. They like to enjoy. So this new law is to target them. So if you say your profit is 1 million and you bought a Gwagon for 50 million, the tax man will come after you. That's very important. Don't forget they have access to all your bank statements. Pay your tax so you won't avoid this stress in future. So like Mr. Taiwo Oloyede said, if there are discrepancies in your financial declaration, they will invite you first of all to a tax office. Come and explain this and that and that. And you bought a Gwagon, you went to the US on holiday, you went to Dubai after that, and you went to the moon after that, and you declare that your profit is only 1 million naira. Come and explain yourself. So if your answers are not satisfactory, they can access your money in your account. So best to pay your tax. This is very stressful if they come after you. Just like EFCC coming after those that stole Nigerians' money. So pay your tax and avoid this stress. Alright everyone, thank you very much for listening. Please share and like my video, and a wonderful Christmas and New Year to come. Thank you. Bye.